We are joined now by Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss, who served in Afghanistan with the Marine Corps back in 2012. Congressman, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Good to be on.
You've defended President Biden's decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan, and you've also said that based on what we knew, the sudden Taliban takeover was a possibility but not an inevitability. So if we knew this was possible, should we have executed with a more orderly withdrawal?
Every military mission concludes with an after-action review where everyone takes off their rank and gets feedback on decisions made and courses of action that could have been improved on. That's just part of life in the military. I am certain that'll be done in the case of the withdrawal. My focus right now, though, is not on pointing fingers one way or the other. It's on the situation on the ground. The international airport in Kabul is secured. Commercial and military flights are resuming. They're going to get 5,000 to 9,000 refugees out daily, at least through August 31st. That includes allied Afghans, journalists, and prominent advocates for the rights of women and girls who may be subject to Taliban reprisal. The situation at the airport and with evacuations is rapidly coming into hand.
And so what about the road they're going to be able to get? Because a lot of people are saying, yes, operations are starting to resume as normal at the airport, but they can't get safely to the airport.
And for that reason, the administration is in direct talks with the Taliban about safe access to the airport, and I know is also working with NGOs throughout the country, in and outside of the capital region, to try to secure passage for those who need to evacuate.
President Biden says the buck stops with him, but he's also kind of thrown shade over the policies of the Trump administration that helped get us here. Do you think politically Biden needs to own this withdrawal?
Again, the politics in Washington should not be the focus right now. We've got a dynamic situation overseas, and politics should stop at the water's edge. What's important is that we are evacuating American personnel, that we're evacuating Afghan allies, and that this president, as commander-in-chief, has taken ownership, finally, of a failed forever war. He made the high-integrity decision that he was not going to hand off a boondoggle of a counterinsurgency to a fifth administration, and for that, he does deserve credit.
President Biden also stated that the mission in Afghanistan was always to get Osama bin Laden. Of course, as we stated, you served in 2012 after his death. What did you think the mission was?
There was no mission by the time I was there, and that is really the foundational failure of Afghan foreign policy over the last 20 years. What began right after 9/11 as a tightly scoped counterterrorism mission focused on denying a base of operations for terrorists and for bringing to justice the architects of 9/11, mutated under Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld into this counterinsurgency with no endgame. Because to win a counterinsurgency, you need to counter the insurgents, and you counter the insurgents with a local government capable of providing basic services, rule of law, a civil society in which individuals can flourish. None of that emanated from central government in Afghanistan. Instead, they devolved into incompetence and corruption. And for this, both the United States and Afghanistan take a lot of blame. Us for allowing it to continue for so long, and Afghan central government leaders for not seizing the opportunity of a lifetime when they had American support to build a new nation. This president recognized that there was no political solution to the counterinsurgency and that we had to end it.
Have you spoken to any Gold Star families since the Taliban takeover?
I have not.
Okay. Hindsight, of course, is 20/20, but looking back, do you think that President Biden should have followed the advice of the military leaders who wanted to leave a small residual force behind in Afghanistan beyond the fall of 2021?
I think it's important to really understand the stark decision that this president inherited from predecessors. It was ramp up the U.S. military footprint in Afghanistan, because once that May 1st deadline was passed, it was Taliban fighting season, and 2,500 troops was not going to cut it. I mean, it's taken twice that to secure an airport. Imagine what it would take to secure Afghanistan in the face of the Taliban onslaught. So it was either ramp up the U.S. military presence, enter a third decade of fighting, or it was to tell a hard truth to the American people and a hard truth to the Afghan government that without a viable political endgame, we had to wrap up a failed forever war.
Would you say that the U.S. is less safe now that the Taliban rules Afghanistan?
I'm not going to prognosticate on how the Taliban is going to govern. This is a regime that has defied expectations repeatedly. and that is so extreme in its ideology that it's impossible to get inside their head. What I will say is that the United States retains the prerogative to execute over-the-horizon counterterrorism missions anywhere in the world. Anybody who has the capability and the will to strike the U.S. homeland is subject to counteraction by the United States, and we're going to retain that capability in Afghanistan as well.
Representative Jake Auchincloss, we thank you so much for your time and, of course, your service in our military.
Thanks for having me on.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.